from James, we got it and then some. We have a great level of appreciation for what James did this year. Kawhi, you guys know how I feel about Kawhi. I definitely believe in those two.
I'm just, I could start off, but I'm hosting today, so I'm going to let you guys go first by simply going to this question. The Clippers obviously plan to move forward with their core of Kawhi and Harden, as you just heard. Perk, is that the right move?
No, it's not. Look, you keep Kawhi, but you can't let James continue to trick you. Hell, he tricked me this season. You know, great regular season. The system did a great job in the regular season, putting up numbers, one of the top leaders in assists, controlling the tempo, and then all of a sudden, he folded like clean sheets in the postseason. Something that we see him do all the time, especially in Game 7s. So when you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard, it's the same standard of every other superstar around the NBA at his age. It's about winning championships. It's not just about getting to the postseason and getting knocked out in the first round. Can you rely on James Harden when it matters the most? And history tells us no. I'm not saying that they should not keep him. I'm just saying he shouldn't be looked at as the quote-unquote one of the franchise guys of that duo. You still need to add to the team for as a guy that could close it. Because here's the thing. Jokic is still going to be in the Western Conference. Anthony Edwards is still going to be in the Western Conference. Dallas is going to be healthy next season. Luka is still there. Steph is still there. SGA is going to be there. So, again, when you talk about James, not Kawhi, because the issue with Kawhi is never if he's going to deliver. It's always if he's going to be available. James Harden, when it matters the most, we have seen history has spoken and said that he always folds. So, again, it's that straddling the fence of, yes, you keep Kawhi, but you keep James to a lesser role.
Wendy?
Guys, I don't think this is like, I think this is what they can do. Like, I don't think they've got any other options. And I do take Lawrence Frank's word to heart. I do think that they've really appreciated what they got from James Harden this year. And I do think that they are dedicated to Kawhi for 2 more years. They don't control their first-round pick for the next 5 years, including this year, and they're still paying off the Kawhi Leonard-Paul George trades. Even though Paul George is gone, they're still paying off that trade. The Thunder structured the trade to push it as far out. They're still paying that debt, and they're not going to have cap space. There's not even materially valuable free agents right now anyway. So I think what they're doing is they've got Kawhi for 2 years at $100 million the next 2 years. It wouldn't surprise me if James Harden opts out of his contract, which I expect him to do, that they look to match his contract length to Kawhi Leonard's. They'll give him a good salary over the next 2 years, and they're going to ride with this group and the supporting players for the next 2 years. And then, when their cap sheet is clear, when they get maybe control of future draft picks again, then they can look at finding new cornerstone pieces, looking for opportunities. I don't think it's that they think that this is going to be what's going to take them to a title. I think that they're making the best of the hand that they've dealt. And Kawhi was out for most of the first half of the year. The second half of the year, he was great. Their wager is going to be that he will be great all year next year. Whether or not you think that's going to happen is a different story. That's what they're going to bet on. That's what they're leaning into.
Wendy, I agree with you. They're limited in what they can do in terms of their maneuverability. It's the right thing to do to keep a James Harden, to keep a Kawhi Leonard, because there's but so much you can do. I get that part. And in fairness to James Harden, and I sincerely hope that he's watching, this is a brother that played 79 games this year, averaged nearly 23 and 9. So he was reliable. He was available the year before. He played 72 games. You know, he's got a player option that's scheduled to pay him $36 million, which he will opt out of because in today's NBA economy, he is clearly worth more. But Lawrence Frank needs to be honest with us or stay the hell away from the cameras and the microphones. You're not talking about winning. You're talking about availability. You're talking about getting to the postseason. But you're not talking about winning. I will remind you that the Los Angeles Clippers have a champion as a coach. Ty Lue is a champion, not just because he won a championship, but everybody who watches him coach knows he coaches on a championship level. That man knows what he's doing. Everybody knows that his lead assistant was Jeff Van Gundy, who should be an NBA head coach, who has gone to the finals coaching a basketball team. This man can coach, and he knows a thing or two about basketball himself. Y'all just finished raving about Zubac, Perk, Wendy, talking about how nobody has really done a better job of guarding against the best player in the world than the Los Angeles Clippers. We've seen him. We understand Norman Powell was up and down. He could have played better, particularly in Game 7, although he played well in a Game 6, okay? We get that part. But when you look at pieces around them and you have a guy who has historically folded, and if you're James Harden, I hope you're watching. We ain't talking about your game. We're talking about the fact that you refuse to show it at the most pivotal moment, which is a Game 7. 8 shot attempts. If James Harden, we're sitting here today, and James Harden scored 7 points because he shot the ball 25 times and just couldn't hit the backside of the ocean. Okay, he would still be criticized, but he'd be criticized for not, all right, you didn't get it done. That's fine. That happens. Sometimes you get it done, sometimes you don't. In his case, we're talking about how he didn't try. There is no excuse for James Harden to shoot 8 shot attempts in a Game 7. There is no excuse for the last 4 Game 7s with 4 different teams that James Harden has played with, that he has attempted 51 shots in 4 games, in 4 Game 7s. That is an indictment against a multiple-time league scoring champion, a former league MVP, who is a scoring machine, who Big Perk once labeled one of the top 3 to 4 off guards in the history of basketball. But when Game 7 show up, you refuse to shoot the damn ball when that's your gift? That's one of your gifts? That is beyond egregious. And for Lawrence Frank to come and to talk to people and to say, oh, man, we got total faith, blah, 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 you clearly ain't talking about winning. You're not talking about championship. No wonder why the Clippers ain't playing no damn finals. If that's the kind of attitude that you're going to have, you can't talk like that. You can talk about keeping a guy, but you got to articulate the level of disappointment and how expectations weren't met. And you got to look at a fan base and say, yo, we got expectations. We didn't meet them. We're not satisfied. We got to do something about that, whatever that may be. You don't even have to articulate the specifics of it all. But you can't walk around like we good with where we are. We're good with what we have, and give Clipper fans something to look forward to after getting romped in Game 7. That is inexcusable, and that's my problem with what Lawrence Frank said in front of the damn cameras and microphone. Just stay the hell away from the cameras and the microphone then. Just go to your office, you understand? Near Inglewood, don't even look at the camera. Let Steve Ballmer speak. Let Ty Lue speak. Hell, let Jeff Van Gundy speak. We don't want to hear from Lawrence Frank if that's what he is going to say, because that's unacceptable, period. I got bills to pay. Luca.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là củ sạc. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha.
Chào mừng tất cả các bạn đã quay trở lại trên YouTube của mình. Và trong video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ cho các bạn xem cái bộ này nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu với này. Trong khi đôi ta mình lấy để dành vào chúng ta.
Thank you.